I'm actually a birth center client, which I think is kind of a happy medium for a lot of first-time moms who are not totally confident that they can get through it. I had a great experience, so please bear with me as I pull up my notes. As I was trying to prepare this speech, I hit a brick wall. I'm not a birth professional. I'm not a midwife. I have no experience with hospital births. I have no amazing tale of multiple VBACs to tell, no amazing save and transfer. I'm just an average housewife from Portland. And so what am I doing here? I'm here because I am the average Joe, average Jane. When my husband and I started planning for a baby, the one thing that I knew was that I did not want to be in a hospital. Now, everyone has their reasons for choosing an out-of-hospital birth. Maybe, you're opposed to medical intervention, drugs, and surgery. Maybe you're a sex abuse survivor who wants more comfort and control in a very personal domain. Maybe you're a natural-loving hippie who wants to give birth with your whole family, your best friend, your doula, your shaman, and your yoga instructor. Personally, I worked in the death care industry, and all of my experience with maternity wards were of loss and grief. No matter how hard we try, and no matter where you give birth, if it's in a hospital or a home birth, it does have some risks, and there's always a chance that you will have loss. And I accepted that. But I knew that when my day came to give birth, the last place that I wanted to be was a place that reminded me of painful loss and heartbreak. I don't think I'm different from the majority of the population. Other than a birth, there are very few positive associations with hospitals. So I started looking for a birth professional that would help me get my wish of enjoying my big day without being in a hospital. How hard could it be, right? I'm young, healthy, low risk. I've got good private insurance from a locally based company, and I live in Oregon, where we have twice the number of home births than the national average. I quickly learned that getting access to quality care outside of a hospital wouldn't be easy. I started with my insurance company. In their benefits handbook, they said that they covered midwifery care, so I gave them a call to find a provider in my network. They kindly mailed me a list of all the midwives in their network, and one by one I went down the list and called them. And they were all in hospitals, and not one of them would attend an out-of-hospital birth. I was stumped. I started to feel defeated, and the insurance company didn't have any suggestions for me. Why should this be so difficult? Women have been doing this since the dawn of time, and it wasn't until the last 100 years or so that we all started thinking that we needed a doctor to be there for a normal and natural part of life. And why wouldn't the insurance company help me? Isn't it cheaper to give birth without a surgeon, an anesthesiologist, and a team of nurses? Which led me to my next lessons. Even with good private pay insurance, I would still probably pay less out of pocket to give midwifery care than to pay a hospital birth copay. I started talking to midwives. I learned that Andaluz Water Birth Center would be covered as an out-of-network provider and was just a few minutes from my home. My midwives at Andaluz took good care of me. When I suffered a miscarriage, they were there to listen and offer sincere sympathies, without insisting that I would need a pill or a DNC. I unexpectedly conceived just 2 weeks later, and they were there again to help me through that emotional roller coaster with sincere caring. I never waited more than 10 minutes for a prenatal appointment. Unlike my previous OBGYN, where I never waited less than a half an hour for a scheduled appointment. My midwives addressed my concerns, offered all the same testing that I would receive in a doctor's office. But most importantly, they built my confidence that I could have a normal, easy birth without medication. They helped me build the mind-body connection. I was like most women raised in this culture. I was afraid of the pain. I thought that I would never get through it without an epidural, and I was terrified that something would go horribly wrong and I'd need an emergency C-section. They helped me foster the belief that my body would know what to do, and that they were there just as guardians of safety in the very unlikely event that something went wrong and that me and my baby would need emergency treatment. I found empowerment in my out-of-hospital birth experience. Last year at this rally on May 5th of 2011, some of you may remember me as the very, very pregnant woman that was having contractions on the steps right over there. It was my first act of political activism, if you can call it that. All I knew is that I was due around the same time, and if all of the midwives were going to be here, then I should probably be here too. So with the loving support and strength of my husband, Sean, and my midwives at Andalus, I had a blissfully uneventful, boring water birth, and welcomed my beautiful daughter, Rosalina, into the world. I started my voyage into birthrights just wanting to be somewhere I felt safe and comfortable. I learned that for the average Joe or Jane like me, it takes a lot of phone calls, fighting and tail chasing, just to skip all the medicalization of a normal physiological event. If I wasn't so stubborn and committed to avoiding the hospital, I probably would have rolled over and signed up with a standard care after the first call to my insurance. A lot of people don't know that they have choices, and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of us are fighting. Out-of-hospital birth isn't for everybody, but we all deserve the chance to make an informed decision. Thank you.